Recently, an image went viral. On the left, it listed obvious sins: lying, cheating, pride, wrath. On the right, it listed good things: family, work, music, and hobbies. But with the qualifier, good things turned into idols. The point was clear. Sin isn't just doing bad things, but even good things done wrongly can become an idol. But the image got mocked hard. Many younger Christians online dismissed it outright, calling it another product of the Tim Keller or Gospel Coalition crowd. They saw it as a legalistic guilt trip designed to make people feel bad for enjoying the good things of life. Here are some of the responses. This is TG style propaganda designed to make you deny your natural affections. People who are concerned about making family an idol are 1. Communist Tim Kellerites, 2. Gay, 3. Paranoid about sinning or virtue signaling. While you're at it, make sure that turning away from idolatry doesn't become an idol. You also have to be very careful that calling out idolatry doesn't become an idol. This isn't helpful. As a matter of fact, it's confusing and misleading. None of the things on the right are inherently sinful. An actual Christian doesn't require reminders in said prioritization. He does so naturally. Now, I get the concern. A lot of teaching in recent years did lean heavily into introspection, always asking, is this an idol? That mindset can choke out joy, kill ambition, excellence, and make Christians afraid to enjoy or pursue anything wholeheartedly.
Don't you dare tell me that I worry too much.
Instead, the Bible teaches that you can do all things to the glory of God. 1 Corinthians 10:31. That's a far better path than constant self-doubt and endless introspection.
I'm beginning to doubt my motives.
You don't need to live in fear that anything you love is automatically an idol. This concern is valid, and it's a needed correction for those who overanalyze every motive and see sin where there is none.
Sin, sin, sin.
But if that's all you emphasize, you've overcorrected. Because the Bible also warns clearly that good things can become idols, and it does command self-examination. But here's the problem. In reacting so strongly, many are swinging the pendulum too far in the other direction. They're not just rejecting bad teaching, they're rejecting good theology. In trying to avoid guilt tripping, they're starting to scoff at the very idea that good things can become sinful, and that's not good discernment. In this video, I'll defend the biblical truth this image is pointing to, that good things can become idols, and when they do, they're just as sinful as the obvious vices we all agree on. Now, the Bible gives us plenty of examples that many sins are simply good things or natural affections that are disordered or taken too far.
It's a distortion.
Let's start with something obvious: gluttony and drunkenness. Both involve good gifts from God, food and drink. But when taken to excess, Scripture clearly calls them sin. Proverbs says, "Be not among drunkards, or among gluttonous eaters of meat. For the drunkard and the glutton will come to poverty, and slumber will clothe them with rags." Does the Bible teach that wine and meat are blessings? Yes. Does it warn against abuse of these good things? Yes, that's exactly what this passage is warning against. The problem is not the things in and of themselves, but in this instance, a lack of self-control causing excessive eating and drinking. Now, some will agree that you can go too far, but they'll say that's not idolatry.
But yeah, it's not like it's a false god or anything.
But listen to how Paul describes it in Philippians 3. "For many of whom I have often told you, and now tell you even with tears, walk as enemies of the cross of Christ. Their end is destruction, their God is their belly, and they glory in their shame with minds set on earthly things." Paul here is describing people who have become enemies of Christ, whose end is destruction. He says, quote, "Their God is their belly," to show that food, and by extension other natural appetites, can become idolatrous. Paul also warns us that their minds are set on earthly things. Not because those things are evil in and of themselves, but because they've been elevated to the wrong place. The earthly things, which are good in and of themselves, have become idols. Let's take one more example. Not food and drink this time, but family. Family is a God-given blessing, foundational to creation itself. But listen to what Jesus says. Whoever loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And whoever loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. Jesus isn't anti-family. He's making the point that even good things must be rightly ordered. When family outranks Christ, it becomes sin. So it's unhelpful when people mock and scoff that you can make an idol out of family. When they do so, they're not just reacting to a ministry or a theological trend, they're mocking something Jesus himself warned us about. If this kind of imbalanced reactionary culture continues, the pendulum will just swing to the other side, and more people will struggle with idolatry than with enjoying and pursuing natural desires to the glory of God. 1 Corinthians 10:31 is my favorite verse in the Bible because it means that you can do anything, no matter how small or menial, to the glory of God. But for that to mean anything, it must also be possible to do the same things in a way that doesn't honor Him. The very existence of the command shows that we can fail at it. Some Christians will wrestle with enjoying the blessings of food, drink, and family without falling into guilt. They'll question their motives, doubt themselves, and be paralyzed by introspection.
Is this okay? Is this okay?
But others will twist and abuse those same blessings, turning food into gluttony, drink into drunkenness, and putting family above Christ.
Nothing is more important than family.
And therefore, both warnings must be preserved, knowing that people struggle in different directions. So how does something good like food, family, work, or rest turn into sin? What actually makes it an idol? Let's start with what doesn't. Spending a lot of time on something doesn't make it an idol. Pursuing excellence or trying to become the best at it doesn't make it an idol. Treating your work or craft seriously, even obsessing over the details, isn't idolatry. Ambition is not idolatry. Loving something deeply is not idolatry. A good thing becomes an idol in one of two ways: disordered love or disordered use. The first way something can be an idol is through being a disordered love. This is when something takes precedence over God in your heart. It's not about what the thing is, it's about the place that it holds. The clearest text for this is Jesus' own words. Whoever loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and whoever loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. Loving your family is good. Honoring your parents is one of the 10 commandments. But when you love your family more than Christ, when the order is reversed, it becomes idolatry.
I have no reason to live except you.
And Jesus doesn't soften it. He says that that person is not worthy of me. The same thing applies to wealth. Jesus taught in Luke 16 that you cannot serve both God and money. That's not because money is evil, but because when it competes with God for your loyalty, it becomes a rival God. That's disordered love. The second way a good thing becomes sinful is when it's used in a way that God never intended. Sex is a good gift, but outside the covenant of marriage, it is the sin of fornication or adultery. Food and drink are blessings, but abused, they become gluttony and drunkenness. Paul says in 1 Corinthians 6:12, "All things are lawful for me, but I will not be enslaved by anything." By calling something lawful, Paul is affirming that it is good in and of itself, but he immediately adds that he will not be enslaved by it. This shows that even good and lawful things can become sinful bonds when disordered. So to summarize, if you're partaking in something that is good, something you don't love more than Christ, and that you're using according to God's design, then you don't need to worry that it's idolatry. So my brother or sister in the faith, don't react and swing the pendulum just because you don't respect certain ministries or teachers. Don't build your theology in opposition to someone else. Base your beliefs on the Bible and the consensus of church history. If you react instead of thinking biblically, you'll end up repeating the same imbalance you were trying to avoid, just in the opposite direction. Yes, it's true that you can do all things to the glory of God. That's a beautiful truth. But it's also true that good things can become idols. That's not Gospel Coalition's idea, it's Scripture's warning. It came from the lips of Christ. So if Jesus warns us that even family can become an idol, we would be foolish to scoff at that just because someone we dislike happens to say the same thing. The wise Christian sees both dangers. Some need to be reminded that God's gifts are to be enjoyed with gratitude and freedom. Others need to be warned that even God's gifts can become gods. Both truths are biblical. Both of these truths must be proclaimed. And never forget, Christ is better than every good thing you've ever loved. If you resonated with this video, I want to recommend 2 books, each aimed at a different struggle. For the person questioning their motives and afraid to enjoy God's good gifts, get The Things of Earth by Joe Rigney. This book will help you stop feeling guilty for enjoying what God made good, whether that's food, music, rest, or relationships. It shows how delight in creation can actually deepen your worship, not compete with it. For the person prone to turn good things into gods, get Counterfeit Gods by Tim Keller. This is one of the clearest books on how idols aren't just bad things, but often good things that we've elevated too far. Whether it's family, success, romance, or control, Keller helps you see how these things can take God's place in your heart if you're not watchful. So go ahead and pick up the book that hits where you're most likely to drift. I've got a link to both books in the video description. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please click like as a way to say thanks. If you want more content like this in your feed, click subscribe directly below me. See you in the next video.